The rain hammered against the tall windows of the grand rosewood wedding venue as Amara Johnson pressed her face against the glass, watching wealthy guests arrive in luxury cars. Her stomach twisted with desperation. Inside her worn purse, the final medical bill for her 5-year-old son Caleb crumpled between shaking fingers. $8,000. Money she didn't have. Money she needed by Monday or they would stop his treatment. "Mummy, why are we hiding behind these big plants?" Caleb whispered, his small hand tugging at her faded blue dress. His sweet voice carried the slight wheeze that never quite went away, a reminder of the condition that was slowly stealing her baby's breath. Amara's heart broke a little more. She had dressed them both in their only nice clothes and snuck into this wedding venue during the reception, hoping to find anyone who might need emergency catering help or cleaning services. Anything to make quick money. The website said the venue sometimes hired day workers for large events. "We're not hiding, sweetheart. Mummy is just looking for someone to talk to about work," she whispered back, smoothing his curly hair. The elegant foyer sparkled with crystal chandeliers and gold decorations. Everything looked like it cost more than she made in a year. Suddenly, heavy footsteps approached. 2 security guards in black uniforms rounded the corner, their eyes immediately locking onto Amara and Caleb. "Ma'am, this is a private event. You need to leave immediately," the taller guard said firmly. His partner stepped closer, blocking their path to the exit. Amara's cheeks burned with embarrassment. "Please, I'm sorry. I just need to speak with someone about work opportunities. My son, he's sick and I need—" "No soliciting. You're trespassing," the second guard interrupted. "We're calling the police if you don't leave right now." Caleb pressed closer to his mother, sensing her distress. Other wedding guests began to notice the commotion. Elegant women in designer dresses whispered behind jeweled hands. Men in expensive suits shook their heads disapprovingly. "Please don't call the police," Amara begged, her voice cracking. "I'll leave right now. I'm sorry for disturbing everyone." As she reached for Caleb's hand to hurry toward the exit, her purse strap caught on a decorative plant. Medical bills scattered across the marble floor like fallen leaves, each one stamped with red final notice marks. Caleb bent down to help gather the papers, his small fingers struggling with the adult-sized documents. "Mummy, why do all these papers have scary red words?" The entire foyer fell silent. Amara dropped to her knees, frantically collecting the evidence of her desperation while tears blurred her vision. This was it. This was rock bottom. She had humiliated herself and her son in front of strangers, and they still didn't have the money Caleb needed. "It's okay, Mummy. We can leave," Caleb said softly, patting her shoulder with the wisdom only children possess. "Maybe the doctors will wait a little longer." "But how long can you wait when your child can barely breathe? Have you ever been so desperate that you'd do anything for the person you love most? What would you have done in Amara's shoes? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories that prove love always finds a way." A deep, gentle voice cut through the tension. "Wait." Amara looked up through her tears to see a tall man in a perfectly tailored navy suit approaching. He had kind brown eyes and moved with the confident ease of someone accustomed to being in charge. Unlike the other guests who stared with judgment, his face showed only concern. "I'm Nathan Cross," he said, kneeling beside them on the expensive marble floor, completely ignoring how his designer suit might get dirty. "And I think we need to talk." The security guard stepped back immediately. "Mr. Cross, we were just handling this situation." Nathan raised a hand, never taking his eyes off Amara and Caleb. "Thank you, but I'll take it from here." His voice carried authority that brooked no argument. He helped gather the remaining medical bills, scanning them quickly. His jaw tightened as he read the amounts and dates. "Caleb, is it?" he asked the little boy gently. Caleb nodded shyly. "Yes, sir. That's me. I'm 5 3/4." Nathan smiled genuinely. 5 3/4 is a very important age. I have a nephew who just turned 6. What kind of treatment do you need, buddy? "I can't breathe good sometimes," Caleb explained matter-of-factly. "The doctors want to fix my lungs, but it costs lots of money. Mummy works really hard, but we don't have enough." Amara wanted to disappear. Having her son explain their poverty to a stranger in an expensive suit felt like the ultimate failure. "Caleb, don't bother the nice man." "He's not bothering me at all," Nathan said firmly. He stood and extended his hand to help Amara to her feet. "Mrs. Johnson." "Amara Johnson," she managed, accepting his help reluctantly. "And I'm sorry for disrupting your event. We'll leave right now." Nathan studied her face carefully. He saw pride warring with desperation, love fighting fear. This woman had dressed up her sick child and brought him to a stranger's wedding because she was out of options. The thought of any parent facing such an impossible choice stirred something deep in his chest. Actually, I have a better idea, Nathan said, pulling out his phone. My cousin's wedding reception is winding down anyway. Why don't you and Caleb join me for dinner? There's a children's menu, and we can discuss some opportunities that might help your situation. Amara shook her head quickly. That's very kind, but we couldn't impose. Mummy, Caleb tugged at her dress again. My tummy is making the hungry noise. Nathan crouched down to Caleb's eye level. You know what? I was getting pretty lonely eating by myself. Would you keep me company? I promise the food here is really good. Caleb looked at his mother hopefully. Amara felt the weight of practical necessity crushing her pride. When was the last time Caleb had eaten a proper meal? When was the last time either of them had? Okay, she whispered. Thank you. Nathan led them toward the dining area, his hand gently guiding Amara's elbow. Other guests parted like water, their earlier judgment replaced by curiosity about why Nathan Cross, one of the wealthiest men in the city, was personally escorting a struggling single mother and her son. As they walked through the opulent reception hall, Caleb's eyes grew wide with wonder. Mummy, look at all the pretty lights. It's like a fairy tale. Amara squeezed his hand. Maybe, just maybe, fairy tales could happen in real life. Even for people like them. Nathan found them a quiet table near the window, away from the main crowd but still part of the celebration. A waiter appeared instantly, treating them with the same respect shown to any other guest. What would you like to eat, Caleb? Nathan asked, opening the children's menu. Caleb studied it seriously, running his finger along the options. Can I really have anything? Anything you want, buddy. Then I want the chicken nuggets and the fruit cup and the chocolate milk, Caleb announced proudly. Mummy, what are you going to have? Amara looked at the menu prices and felt dizzy. Even the simplest salad cost more than her grocery budget for a week. I'm not very hungry. The salmon here is excellent, Nathan suggested gently. And the soup of the day is perfect for a rainy evening like this. As they waited for food, Nathan asked simple questions that helped Amara relax. He talked to Caleb about kindergarten and favorite colors and whether he liked dinosaurs or superheroes better. He listened to Amara explain her situation without making her feel like she was begging. She had been working 3 part-time jobs since Caleb's father left when he was 2. A morning shift at a coffee shop, afternoon hours at a grocery store, and evening cleaning services. Despite working nearly 16 hours a day, the money never stretched far enough, especially with Caleb's medical needs. When their food arrived, Caleb ate with the enthusiasm only children possess, chattering between bites about everything and nothing. Nathan found himself genuinely enjoying the conversation, drawn to the boy's innocent wisdom and his mother's quiet strength. Mr. Nathan, Caleb said around a mouthful of chicken nugget. Do you have any kids? Nathan's expression softened. No, buddy. I don't. Why not? You're really nice. I think you'd be a good daddy. Amara nearly choked on her soup. Caleb, that's not appropriate. Nathan chuckled. It's fine. Actually, Caleb, I've been so busy with work that I never took time to start a family. Maybe I should change that. As the evening progressed, other wedding guests began to approach their table. Nathan's cousin Rebecca, radiant in her wedding dress, stopped by with her new husband. Nathan, I was wondering where you disappeared to, she said warmly, then noticed Amara and Caleb. Hello there. Nathan made introductions, and Rebecca immediately fell under Caleb's spell as he complimented her princess dress, and asked if she felt like Cinderella. Within minutes, half the wedding party had gathered around, enchanted by the little boy's charm and moved by his story. You know, Rebecca said thoughtfully, my wedding planner mentioned they're always looking for reliable people to help with events. The pay is really good, especially for weekend work. Nathan's business partner Michael added, and our company is expanding the customer service department. We need people with strong communication skills. Offers and suggestions flowed freely. Phone numbers were exchanged. Connections were made. What had started as Amara's most humiliating moment was transforming into something entirely different. As the reception finally wound down, Nathan walked them to the parking garage. The rain had stopped and stars peeked through clearing clouds. Where's your car? Nathan asked, looking around the nearly empty garage. Amara's cheeks reddened again. We took the bus. The stop is just a few blocks away. Nathan frowned. It was nearly midnight, and the neighborhood around the venue wasn't safe for a woman and child alone at this hour. Absolutely not. I'm driving you home. That's not necessary. Mummy, Caleb yawned sleepily. I'm tired. Can we ride in Mr. Nathan's car? Please? Nathan's car turned out to be a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than Amara made in 5 years. As he buckled Caleb into the back seat, the little boy's eyes were already drooping. During the quiet drive to their apartment, Nathan absorbed the reality of their neighborhood. Broken streetlights, boarded-up buildings, and groups of people hanging around corners at midnight. The contrast to the luxury they'd just left was stark. Their apartment building looked ready to collapse. The elevator was broken, so they climbed 4 flights of narrow, dimly lit stairs. Nathan carried the sleeping Caleb without complaint. At their door, Amara fumbled with multiple locks. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Tonight was... I don't even have words. You saved us from complete humiliation." Nathan looked at the peeling paint and heard water dripping somewhere in the walls. "Amara, about those medical bills? We'll figure something out," she said quickly. "The people tonight gave me so many leads. I can work extra shifts. The surgery Caleb needs can't wait for extra shifts," Nathan said gently. "Let me help." "You've done enough." "I haven't done anything yet," Nathan interrupted. "Tomorrow morning, I want you to call this number." He handed her a business card. "Dr. Sarah Patterson is the best pediatric pulmonologist in the state. She's expecting your call." Amara stared at the card. "I can't afford a specialist. It's already handled. The consultation, the surgery, everything. It's covered." Amara's hands shook. "What? Why would you do this for strangers?" Nathan looked through the door at Caleb, now sleeping peacefully on their small couch. "Because sometimes you meet people who remind you what really matters. Because no child should struggle to breathe while his mother works 16-hour days. Because you both deserve so much better than this." Tears ran down Amara's cheeks. "I don't know how to thank you. Just let me help," Nathan said simply. "Please. No pride, no arguments. Just let me help." Looking into his sincere eyes, Amara knew she had reached another crossroads. She could refuse out of pride and watch her son suffer, or she could accept this incredible gift and give Caleb the chance he deserved. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you. Yes. Please help us." Nathan smiled. "Good. Dr. Patterson's office opens at 8. Call first thing, tell them you're Nathan Cross's referral. They'll fit you in immediately." As he turned to leave, Caleb stirred on the couch. "Mummy? Is Mr. Nathan still here?" "Yes, sweetheart." Caleb sat up sleepily. "Mr. Nathan? Will you come see us again?" Nathan looked back at this little boy who had somehow wrapped around his heart in just a few hours. "Would you like that?" "Yes, please. You're nice. And you listen to all my stories." "Then yes, buddy. I'll definitely come see you again." After Nathan left, Amara tucked Caleb into their small bed, her mind spinning with the events of the evening. A few hours ago, she had been desperate and humiliated. Now, her son had a chance at the surgery that could change his life. As she looked at Caleb's peaceful sleeping face, Amara whispered a prayer of gratitude. Sometimes angels appeared in expensive suits. Sometimes miracles happened at wedding receptions. Sometimes, when you thought you had lost everything, that was exactly when everything began to change. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for the first time in years, tomorrow also brought hope. The morning sun streamed through their small apartment window as Amara sat at their tiny kitchen table, staring at Dr. Patterson's business card. In the light of day, last night felt like a dream. Had Nathan Cross really offered to pay for Caleb's surgery? Had she actually accepted help from a complete stranger? "Mummy, you look worried," Caleb observed, eating cereal from a chipped bowl. "Did you forget something important?" Amara smiled at her son's perceptiveness. "No, sweetheart. Actually, I need to make a very important phone call. Remember the nice man from last night? Mr. Nathan?" Caleb's face lit up. "The one who let me have chocolate milk and listen to my dinosaur facts?" "That's right. He gave us the name of a special doctor who might be able to help your breathing." At exactly 8 o'clock, Amara dialed the number with trembling fingers. The receptionist who answered was warm and professional. "Dr. Patterson's office, this is Jennifer." "Hi, I'm calling about... I was told to mention Nathan Cross sent me? For my son Caleb Johnson?" "Oh yes, Mrs. Johnson. We've been expecting your call. Dr. Patterson had a cancellation this morning. Can you be here by 10? Amara's heart raced. "Yes, absolutely. But I need to ask about payment arrangements." "Everything has been taken care of, Mrs. Johnson. Mr. Cross's office called last night and handled all the financial arrangements. Just bring Caleb and any previous medical records you have." After hanging up, Amara sat in stunned silence. Nathan had actually done it. He had made one phone call and arranged something she had been trying to manage for months. The bus ride to Dr. Patterson's office took them to the wealthy side of town. The medical building was gleaming and new, with a children's play area that made Caleb gasp with delight. "Look, Mummy, they have the big fish tank with the blue fish that glow." Dr. Patterson turned out to be a kind woman in her 50s who spoke to Caleb like he was the most important patient she'd ever had. After a thorough examination and reviewing his medical history, she sat down with Amara to explain the situation. "Caleb's condition is completely treatable with surgery," she said gently. "The procedure will repair the structural issues in his airways and significantly improve his breathing. Without it, his symptoms will continue to worsen." "How soon can we schedule it?" Amara asked. "I've already contacted the surgical team. We can do it next week if you're comfortable with that timeline." Next week? Amara felt dizzy. She had been trying to arrange this surgery for 8 months. Nathan had made it happen in less than 12 hours. As they waited for Caleb to finish some preliminary tests, Amara's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hope the appointment is going well. Nathan." She stared at the message, not sure how to respond. Finally, she typed back, "Dr. Patterson is wonderful. Surgery scheduled for next week. I don't know how to thank you." The response came quickly, "Just focus on Caleb. Are you free for lunch today? I'd like to discuss something with you." Amara hesitated. She had taken the morning off from her coffee shop job, but she was supposed to work the afternoon shift at the grocery store. Then she thought about Caleb's excited face when he saw Nathan last night. "Yes. Where would you like to meet?" "I'll pick you up at the medical building." 1 hour okay. When Nathan arrived, he was dressed more casually in dark jeans and a blue sweater, but he still looked like he stepped out of a magazine. Caleb ran to him immediately. "Mr. Nathan, you came back. The doctor lady was so nice, and they have a fish tank with fish that look like they're dancing." Nathan scooped Caleb up easily. "That sounds amazing. Are you hungry? I know a place that makes the best grilled cheese sandwiches in the city." The restaurant Nathan chose was family-friendly but elegant, the kind of place Amara had only seen in movies. Caleb was fascinated by everything, especially the way the waiters treated Nathan like he owned the place. "Caleb, why don't you go look at the dessert display with Sarah?" Nathan suggested after they finished eating, nodding to their waitress. "Pick out something special for later." Once Caleb was safely occupied, Nathan turned to Amara with a serious expression. "I have a proposition for you." Amara tensed. "What kind of proposition?" "A job. At my company." "It's not charity," he added quickly, seeing her expression. "You're overqualified for what you're doing now, and I need someone with your skills." "You don't know anything about my skills." Nathan smiled. "Actually, I do. I made some calls this morning. Your former manager at the hotel where you worked before Caleb got sick had nothing but praise for you. She said you were the best customer service representative they ever had. Professional, organized, great with people." Amara stared at him. "You investigated me?" "I did my homework. I don't make business decisions lightly, even when they involve helping people I care about." The phrase "people I care about" made Amara's heart skip. "What kind of job?" "Customer Relations Manager for Cross Technologies. You'd be working with our biggest clients, handling their concerns, making sure they're happy. The salary is $65,000 a year, plus health insurance and benefits." Amara nearly fell out of her chair. $65,000? That's more than I make working 3 jobs. It's also what the position pays. I'm not inflating it because of your situation. But I don't have a college degree. Experience matters more than degrees in customer service. You've been handling difficult people and situations your whole working life. My clients can be demanding, but they're not any worse than what you're already dealing with." Caleb returned with Sarah, his eyes wide with excitement. "Mummy, they have chocolate cake that's taller than my head and ice cream with little cookies in it." "That sounds perfect, buddy," Nathan said. "Sarah, can you get Caleb set up with that dessert? Maybe he can sit at the counter and watch them make it." Once they were alone again, Nathan continued. "There's something else. The position comes with a signing bonus. $20,000. $20,000? Amara whispered. "It's standard for management positions. You can use it for a security deposit on a better apartment, get Caleb set up in a good school district, whatever you need." Amara felt overwhelmed. Yesterday she had been scrambling to pay medical bills. Today she was being offered a life-changing job by a man she barely knew. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Why are you doing all this?" Nathan was quiet for a moment, watching Caleb excitedly describe the dessert preparation to the patient baker. My parents died when I was 12. Car accident. I went to live with my grandmother and she struggled to provide for me. I remember what it felt like to be the kid whose clothes never quite fit right, who couldn't go on field trips because there wasn't money for the bus fare. Amara's heart clenched. I'm sorry. That must have been so hard. It was. But it taught me that circumstances don't define people. Character does. And you, Amara Johnson, have more character in your little finger than most people have in their whole bodies. You don't know me well enough to say that. I know you worked 3 jobs to pay for your son's medical care. I know you swallowed your pride and crashed a wedding reception because you were desperate to help him. I know you tried to refuse dinner last night even though you were clearly hungry. I know you tucked those medical bills away so carefully that Caleb wouldn't see how scared you were. Amara felt tears building. Those things don't make me special. Any mother would do the same. No, they wouldn't. Trust me, I've met plenty of people who wouldn't sacrifice their comfort for their children. Nathan leaned forward. Look, I'm not asking you to marry me or sign your life away. I'm offering you a job you're qualified for and a chance to give Caleb the stability he deserves. If it doesn't work out, you can quit and go back to your other jobs. But at least try. Can you imagine turning down an opportunity that could change your entire family's future? What would you do if someone offered to rescue you from financial desperation? Share your thoughts below and subscribe to see how Amara's decision shapes her destiny. The weight of the decision pressed on Amara's chest. Accept Nathan's offer and risk depending on someone she barely knew, or stay with the familiar struggle that kept them in poverty. Caleb bounced back to the table, chocolate frosting on his chin and pure joy in his eyes. Mummy, that was the best dessert in the whole world. Can we come back here sometime? Looking at her son's hopeful face, Amara made her choice. Mr. Nathan, I accept your job offer. Nathan's smile was brilliant. I'm glad. You start Monday. And Amara? Call me Nathan. We're going to be working together. As they prepared to leave, Nathan handed her a folder. Employment paperwork, building access information, and the address of a real estate agent who specializes in family-friendly apartments. She's expecting your call. This is happening so fast. Sometimes the best changes happen fast, Nathan said. Gives you less time to talk yourself out of good things. On the bus ride home, Caleb chattered excitedly about their lunch and the new job. Mummy, does this mean we might get a bigger apartment? Maybe one with a balcony where I can watch birds. Maybe, sweetheart. We'll see what we can find. And will Mr. Nathan visit us there too? Amara looked at her son's eager face. I don't know, Caleb. Mr. Nathan is very busy. But privately she hoped he would. Nathan Cross had appeared in their lives like a guardian angel, offering everything they needed exactly when they needed it most. The rational part of her brain whispered warnings about being too dependent on his kindness. The hopeful part of her heart whispered something entirely different. That evening, as she read employment contracts and apartment listings, Amara felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Genuine optimism about the future. Whatever Nathan's motivations, he had given them a chance at a better life. All she had to do now was prove she deserved it. Monday morning arrived with the first hints of spring sunshine. Amara stood in front of their tiny bathroom mirror, adjusting the navy blue blazer she had found at a thrift store over the weekend. It wasn't expensive, but it was professional and clean. Mummy, you look like a boss lady, Caleb announced from the doorway, grinning at her reflection. A boss lady? Amara laughed, turning to face her son. Is that good or bad? Very good. Boss ladies are important and smart and they wear pretty clothes to work. Amara's heart swelled. Caleb was scheduled for his surgery in 3 days, but his spirits were higher than they had been in months. Having something to look forward to and seeing his mother happy had worked magic on his outlook. The Cross Technologies building stood 37 floors tall in the heart of downtown, all gleaming glass and steel. Amara stared up at it from the sidewalk, her new employee badge clutched in her hand. 3 days ago she had been cleaning office buildings. Today she was walking into one as a manager. The security guard at the front desk smiled warmly. You must be Mrs. Johnson. Mr. Cross asked me to send you directly to the 28th floor when you arrived. The elevator ride seemed to last forever. When the doors opened, Amara stepped into a sophisticated office space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A young woman with short red hair approached immediately. Amara? I'm Jessica Chen, Nathan's executive assistant. He's in an early meeting, but he wanted me to get you settled. Welcome to Cross Technologies. Jessica gave her a comprehensive tour of the floor, introducing her to various team members who all seemed genuinely pleased to meet her. The customer relations department was modern and efficient, with individual offices rather than cramped cubicles. "This is your office," Jessica said, opening a door to reveal a bright corner space with 2 large windows. "Nathan thought you might appreciate the natural light." Amara stepped inside, hardly believing the space was hers. The desk was solid wood, the computer was top of the line, and there were fresh flowers in a vase by the window. "He had those sent up this morning," Jessica added, noticing Amara's surprise. "He wanted your first day to feel welcoming." Before Amara could respond, Nathan appeared in the doorway. He looked every inch the successful CEO in his charcoal suit and silver tie, but his smile was warm and personal. "Good morning. How are you feeling? Ready for your first day?" "Nervous but excited," Amara admitted. "This office is beautiful." "Thank you. You'll be spending a lot of time here, so it should be comfortable." Nathan stepped inside, gesturing to the papers on her desk. "I've put together some client files for you to review today. Nothing urgent, just background information so you can get familiar with our major accounts." Over the next few hours, Amara threw herself into learning about Cross Technologies' business. They developed software solutions for healthcare systems, which explained Nathan's connections to top doctors. The work was challenging but interesting, and she found herself genuinely engaged with the projects. At lunch, Nathan appeared at her door again. "How's it going?" "Really well. This is fascinating work. I had no idea healthcare technology was so complex. Want to grab lunch? I can tell you more about the industry." They went to a quiet cafe near the building where Nathan was clearly a regular. Over sandwiches and soup, he explained how he had built his company from nothing after college, focusing on solutions that made healthcare more accessible and efficient. "It sounds like you genuinely want to help people," Amara observed. "That's the point. Making money is fine, but if you're not making the world a little better, what's the purpose?" Amara studied his face, looking for signs of insincerity. She found none. "Is that why you helped us? To make the world a little better?" Nathan's expression grew serious. "I helped you because you needed help and I was in a position to provide it. But I hired you because you're good at what you do. Don't confuse the two. It's hard not to when they happened at the same time." "Fair point. But Amara, you've been here half a day and you've already impressed 3 different department heads with your questions and insights. That's not charity. That's competence." The afternoon flew by. Amara found herself handling client calls with confidence, drawing on years of customer service experience in much more difficult circumstances. When a frustrated hospital administrator called about a software glitch, Amara managed to calm him down and coordinate a solution within an hour. At 5:30, Nathan stopped by her office. "How was your first day?" "Challenging but good. I think I'm going to like it here." "I'm glad. Ready to head home?" Amara gathered her things, then hesitated. "Nathan, can I ask you something personal?" "Always. Do you have dinner plans tonight?" Nathan looked surprised. "No, actually." "Why?" "Caleb has been talking about you all weekend. Would you like to come over for dinner? It won't be fancy, just spaghetti and garlic bread, but he would be so excited." Nathan's face lit up. "I would love that. Can I bring dessert?" "You don't have to." "I want to." "What does Caleb like?" "Ice cream. Any flavor. He's 5, his standards aren't high." Nathan laughed. "Ice cream it is." 2 hours later, Nathan stood in their tiny apartment kitchen, looking completely out of place in his expensive suit but somehow perfectly comfortable helping Caleb set the small table. "Mr. Nathan, do you know how to fold napkins into triangles?" Caleb asked seriously. "Mummy taught me. It makes dinner more fancy." "I don't, but I'd love to learn," Nathan replied, crouching down to Caleb's level as the boy demonstrated the proper technique. Watching them together, Amara felt something warm and unfamiliar bloom in her chest. Nathan could have sent a car to take her home, could have made polite conversation and left. Instead, he was sitting on their worn couch listening intently as Caleb explained the difference between Triceratops and Stegosaurus. The Triceratops had 3 horns, Caleb said with authority, using his hands to demonstrate. But the Stegosaurus had spikes on his tail and plates on his back for protection. "That's incredible," Nathan replied with genuine interest. "Which one do you think was stronger?" Caleb considered this seriously. "Well, the Triceratops was bigger but the Stegosaurus was smarter. I think being smart is better than being big." Nathan glanced at Amara with a smile. "Your son is very wise." During dinner, Nathan asked Caleb about school, his friends and his favorite subjects. Caleb chatted freely about his teacher Miss Rodriguez, the classroom pet hamster named Peanut, and how he was learning to read chapter books. After my surgery, will I be able to run really fast? Caleb asked suddenly, twirling spaghetti around his fork. Dr. Patterson thinks you'll be able to do everything other kids your age do, Amara answered gently. Maybe even more. Cool. Then I can try out for soccer. Jimmy Parker says soccer players have to run a lot. Nathan leaned forward. Do you like soccer? I don't know. I never got to play because running makes me too tired. But it looks fun when I watch the big kids at school. After you're all healed up, maybe we can kick a ball around in the park, Nathan suggested. I played in college. Caleb's eyes went wide. Really? Were you good? I was okay. Not good enough to play professionally, but good enough to have fun. After dinner, Nathan insisted on helping with dishes while Caleb played with some toys in the living room. Standing beside Nathan at their tiny sink, Amara was acutely aware of how he filled the small space, how his sleeve brushed against hers as they worked. Thank you for this, Nathan said quietly. I can't remember the last time I had dinner in someone's home. You must have family dinners, holiday gatherings? Nathan shook his head. My grandmother died 5 years ago. I have some distant cousins, but we're not close. Most of my time is spent with business associates or at company events. Amara felt a pang of sympathy. That sounds lonely. I didn't think it was until I met you and Caleb. Now I realize what I've been missing. Their eyes met over the dish towel, and Amara felt her pulse quicken. There was something in Nathan's expression that made her suddenly very aware they were standing close together in the intimate space of her kitchen. Mummy, Mr. Nathan, Caleb called from the living room. Come see what I built with my blocks. The moment broke, but the feeling lingered as they admired Caleb's elaborate castle construction. Nathan sat cross-legged on the floor, asking detailed questions about the design and suggesting improvements like an architect consulting with a client. When it was time for Caleb's bath and bedtime routine, Nathan prepared to leave. Thank you for dinner. It was perfect. Thank you for the ice cream and for being so wonderful with Caleb, Amara replied. He's going to sleep happy tonight. As Nathan reached for his coat, Caleb appeared in his pajamas. Mr. Nathan, are you leaving? I am, buddy. You need to get your rest for the big day on Thursday. Caleb nodded solemnly, then surprised them both by wrapping his arms around Nathan's legs in a fierce hug. Thank you for helping Mummy get a good job and for making me able to breathe better. Nathan knelt down and hugged Caleb properly. You're very welcome. You're a special kid, Caleb Johnson. Will you come see me in the hospital? Nathan looked at Amara, who nodded. If your mom says it's okay, I'll definitely come see you. She says it's okay. Right, Mummy? Right, Amara confirmed, her voice slightly thick with emotion. After Nathan left, Amara tucked Caleb into bed and read him 2 stories. As she turned off his light, Caleb spoke into the darkness. Mummy, I think Mr. Nathan likes us. I think so too, sweetheart. Do you like him? Amara considered the question carefully. Yes, I do like him. He's been very kind to us. Good. Maybe he can be our family too. Before Amara could figure out how to respond to that, Caleb was asleep. She sat in the dark for a long time, thinking about her son's innocent words and the way Nathan had looked at her in the kitchen. 3 days later, Amara sat in the surgical waiting room at Children's Hospital, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Caleb had been taken into surgery an hour ago, and Dr. Patterson had assured her everything would go smoothly, but waiting was still agony. Amara? She looked up to see Nathan approaching with 2 cups of coffee and a concerned expression. How are you holding up? Trying not to panic, she admitted, accepting the coffee gratefully. I know Dr. Patterson is excellent, but he's so small. Nathan sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. He's also strong and brave, just like his mother. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching other families navigate their own medical challenges. Nathan answered work emails on his phone but stayed present, offering quiet reassurance whenever Amara's anxiety spiked. Mrs. Johnson? Dr. Patterson appeared in the waiting room, still in surgical scrubs but smiling. Caleb did beautifully. The surgery was completely successful. Amara stood on shaky legs. He's okay. He's more than okay. The repair went exactly as planned. His breathing should improve dramatically as he heals. You can see him in about an hour when he wakes up. Amara burst into tears of relief. Nathan's arms came around her immediately, holding her steady as 5 years of worry and fear finally released. He's going to be fine, Nathan murmured against her hair. Everything's going to be fine now. When they were finally allowed into the recovery room, Caleb was awake but groggy from anesthesia. His face lit up when he saw them. Mummy, Mr. Nathan, you both came, he whispered hoarsely. Of course we came, Amara said, stroking his forehead. How do you feel? Tired? But my chest doesn't feel heavy anymore. Nathan stepped closer to the bed. The doctor says you're going to be able to run and play like any other kid. Really? I can play soccer. Really? And basketball and tag and anything else you want to try. Over the next 2 days, Nathan visited every morning and evening, bringing books, small toys and updates from Amara's work colleagues who had sent get well cards. He read to Caleb, played quiet games, and somehow made the sterile hospital room feel less intimidating. On the 3rd day, when Caleb was cleared to go home, Nathan appeared with a surprise. I have something for you, buddy, he said, pulling a small wrapped box from his jacket pocket. Caleb opened it eagerly to reveal a silver bracelet with his name engraved on it. Wow, this is so cool. It's not just cool, it's special, Nathan explained. See this button on the side? If you ever need help, if you're scared or hurt or just want to talk to me, you press it and it sends me a message. I'll always come if you need me. Caleb's eyes went wide. Always. Always. That's a promise. Amara felt tears threaten again. The bracelet was clearly expensive, but more than that, it represented a commitment. Nathan wasn't just helping them through a crisis. He was promising to be part of their lives going forward. As they prepared to leave the hospital, Dr. Patterson pulled Amara aside for final instructions. Caleb should avoid strenuous activity for another week, but after that he can gradually return to normal childhood activities. Bring him back in a month for a follow-up. I will. And Dr. Patterson? Thank you. For everything. Thank Mr. Cross too, the doctor said with a knowing smile. He's called twice a day since the surgery to check on Caleb's progress. That's not typical for financial sponsors. Nathan drove them home in comfortable silence, Caleb dozing in the back seat with his new bracelet clutched in his hand. When they reached their apartment building, Nathan helped carry Caleb upstairs. I should let you both rest, he said as Amara unlocked their door. Nathan, wait. Amara turned to face him. I need to say something. He waited patiently while she gathered her thoughts. A week ago I thought my life was falling apart. I was desperate and scared and completely alone. You changed everything. Not just the money or the job, but you gave us hope. You made Caleb believe in good things again. I don't know how to thank you for that. Nathan stepped closer, his expression serious. You don't need to thank me, Amara. Getting to know you and Caleb has changed my life too. How? You reminded me what family feels like. What it means to care about people more than quarterly profits. What it's like to have someone genuinely happy to see you at the end of the day. They stood in the hallway outside her door, the weight of unspoken feelings hanging between them. Amara was suddenly very aware that this man who had rescued them was also becoming important to her in ways that had nothing to do with gratitude. I should go, Nathan said quietly, but he didn't move. You should, Amara agreed, but she didn't step back. For a moment, it seemed like something more might happen. Then Caleb stirred in his sleep, mumbling about dinosaurs, and the spell broke. Get some rest, Nathan said, his voice slightly rough. Take tomorrow off if you need to. Caleb's recovery is more important than work. Thank you. For everything. After Nathan left, Amara tucked Caleb into his own bed for the first time in days. As she listened to his breathing, now clear and easy, she marveled at how completely their lives had changed. They had gone from desperate to hopeful, from struggling to stable, from alone to, what? What exactly was happening between her and Nathan? Whatever it was, Amara found herself looking forward to finding out. 2 weeks after Caleb's surgery, Amara was settling into a routine at Cross Technologies that felt almost too good to be true. Her work was challenging and rewarding, her colleagues were friendly and professional, and Nathan had become a constant, steady presence in their lives. Every few days he would stop by her office with coffee or invite her to lunch. Every evening he would text to check on Caleb's recovery. And twice a week he joined them for dinner, bringing groceries and staying to help with homework or bedtime stories. Mr. Nathan knows everything about fractions, Caleb announced one Thursday evening, proudly showing Amara his completed math worksheet. He explained them with pizza slices, and now I get it. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Amara said, glancing at Nathan who was loading their dishwasher. Did you thank him for helping? Thank you, Mr. Nathan. You're the best homework helper ever. Nathan ruffled Caleb's hair affectionately. You're pretty smart yourself, buddy. You just needed someone to explain it differently. These moments had become precious to Amara. Watching Nathan interact with her son with such genuine care and patience made her heart do complicated things. He never talked down to Caleb or dismissed his questions. He listened with the same attention he gave to million-dollar business deals. "Caleb, go brush your teeth and get ready for bed," Amara said. "I need to talk to Mr. Nathan about grown-up things." Once Caleb was out of earshot, Amara turned to Nathan with a serious expression. "We need to discuss something." Nathan immediately looked concerned. "What's wrong? Is it work? Is someone giving you trouble?" "No, work is fine. It's about this." She gestured between them. "About you being here so often, helping with everything, becoming such a big part of Caleb's life." Nathan's expression grew guarded. "Are you asking me to step back?" "I'm asking what your intentions are," Amara said carefully. "Caleb is getting attached to you. He talks about you constantly, looks forward to your visits, includes you in all his plans for the future. If you're just being kind temporarily, I need to know now before he gets his heart broken." Nathan was quiet for a long moment, considering his words. "What if I told you I'm getting attached too?" Amara felt her pulse quicken. "Are you?" "Yes. More than I expected, more than I planned. Caleb is an amazing kid, and you—" He paused, running a hand through his hair. "You're incredible, Amara. You're strong and smart and kind, and being around you and Caleb makes me happier than I've been in years. But—" Amara sensed there was more. "But I don't want you to feel pressured because of everything I've done for you. I don't want you to think you owe me anything, especially not your feelings." Amara stepped closer to him. "What if my feelings aren't about obligation? What if I genuinely care about you too?" Nathan's eyes searched her face. "Do you?" "Yes," she whispered. "I do. You're wonderful with Caleb, you're patient with me, you make us both feel safe and valued. But Nathan, I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of depending on someone again. Of letting Caleb get too comfortable with having a father figure only to lose it. Of not being enough for someone like you long term." Nathan reached for her hands, holding them gently. "Someone like me? Successful, educated, wealthy. Someone who could have anyone." "Amara, look at me." When she met his eyes, his expression was fierce with sincerity. "I don't want anyone else. I want the woman who works 3 jobs to take care of her son. I want the person who teaches kindness and resilience by example. I want someone who makes dinner feel like the most important part of my day." Before Amara could respond, Caleb's voice called from the bathroom. "Mummy, I'm ready for my story." The moment suspended, Nathan squeezed her hands. "We don't have to figure everything out tonight. But I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere unless you ask me to." That weekend, Nathan invited them to his house for the first time. Amara had imagined it would be intimidating, but the colonial-style home in an upscale neighborhood was elegant without being ostentatious. The backyard had a swing set that Nathan had clearly purchased recently. "This is for me?" Caleb asked, running toward the swings with excitement. "If you want it to be," Nathan replied. "I thought you might like having a place to play when you visit." Caleb immediately claimed the higher swing, pumping his legs with the energy of a completely healthy child. His breathing was perfect now, his color bright and strong. "He looks so different," Amara observed, watching her son with wonder. "He acts different too. More confident, more willing to try things. The surgery was life-changing. I can never thank you enough." "Stop." Nathan turned to face her. "I mean it, Amara. Stop thanking me. What I did for Caleb wasn't charity or some grand gesture. It was what anyone who cared about him would have done if they had the resources. Not everyone would have done it for strangers. You weren't strangers after that first night. You were." He searched for the right words. "You were people I was meant to meet." Inside the house, Nathan showed them around with obvious pride. The kitchen was modern and spacious, perfect for cooking family meals. The living room had comfortable furniture and a large television with gaming systems that made Caleb gasp with delight. "You have every game," Caleb breathed, examining the collection with reverence. "I may have gotten a little carried away when I was setting up," Nathan admitted to Amara. "I wanted to make sure he'd be comfortable here." "Here?" Amara raised an eyebrow. "I mean when you visit. Both of you. I hope you'll visit often." They spent the afternoon in domestic bliss. Nathan grilled burgers while Amara made a salad and Caleb explored every corner of the backyard. When they sat down to eat on the deck, it felt natural and right, like they'd been doing this for years. "Mr. Nathan, do you get lonely in this big house by yourself?" Caleb asked with his characteristic directness. "Sometimes," Nathan answered honestly. "But I'm not lonely when you and your mom are here. Maybe you should get a dog. Dogs are good company." Nathan glanced at Amara with an amused expression. "That's not a bad idea. What kind of dog do you think I should get?" Caleb launched into an extensive analysis of dog breeds, their relative merits and care requirements. Amara marveled at how Nathan listened with complete attention, asking follow-up questions and treating Caleb's opinions with real respect. As the sun began to set, they moved inside to watch a movie. Caleb curled up between them on the large couch, his head eventually dropping onto Nathan's shoulder as he dozed. "He's out," Nathan whispered, careful not to disturb the sleeping child. "He's had a big day. All this excitement and fresh air." They sat in comfortable silence, both aware of Caleb's warm weight between them and the domestic intimacy of the moment. This was what family felt like, Amara realized. Not the desperate survival mode she'd been living in for years, but actual contentment and security. "Amara," Nathan said quietly, "can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Caleb's father. Do you mind telling me what happened?" Amara was quiet for a moment, stroking her son's hair. "His name was Marcus. We met in college, dated for 2 years, got engaged. When I got pregnant, he was excited at first. But when Caleb was born with breathing problems and the medical bills started piling up, he couldn't handle it. He left. He said he wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility, that he couldn't deal with a sick child and all the stress and money problems." Amara's voice was matter-of-fact, but Nathan could hear the old hurt underneath. "He signed away his parental rights and moved across the country. Caleb doesn't remember him." Nathan felt anger rise in his chest. What kind of man abandons his child when they need him most? "The kind who was never really ready to be a father," Amara said simply. "I was angry for a long time, but eventually I realized Caleb and I were better off without someone who could walk away so easily." "You were. But it must have been incredibly hard, doing everything alone." "It was. But it also made me stronger. Made me appreciate what really matters." She looked down at Caleb's peaceful face. "I never want him to feel abandoned again. That's why I'm scared about this. About us. If things don't work out." Nathan shifted carefully, trying not to wake Caleb. "Amara, I understand your fear. But I need you to understand something about me. I don't make commitments lightly. When I care about someone, it's not temporary or conditional. How can you be sure? You've known us for less than a month. Sometimes a month is enough to recognize something important. Sometimes you meet people and you just know they belong in your life." Amara felt tears prick her eyes. "I want to believe that." "Then try. Give us a chance to see where this goes. Give me a chance to prove that I'm not going anywhere. What would you do if someone promised to stay but you'd been abandoned before? Could you trust again after having your heart broken?" Share your thoughts below and subscribe to see if Amara can overcome her fears and open her heart to love. That night, after Nathan drove them home and helped carry a sleepy Caleb upstairs, Amara lay awake thinking about trust and fear and the possibility of love. Nathan had been nothing but consistent, reliable, and caring. He had earned her son's trust completely and was slowly earning hers. Maybe it was time to stop protecting her heart and start opening it instead. The next Monday at work, Amara was reviewing client contracts when Jessica appeared at her office door looking flustered. "Amara, we have a situation. The Patterson Medical Group is here for their quarterly review meeting, but Nathan's been delayed at another appointment. They're his biggest client, and Dr. Sarah Patterson specifically requested that you handle the meeting." Amara's eyes widened. Dr. Patterson was not only Nathan's biggest client but also the doctor who had performed Caleb's surgery. "She asked for me specifically?" "Apparently Nathan mentioned that you've been instrumental in improving their customer service experience. She wants to meet the person who's been handling their account so well." Amara gathered her files and headed to the conference room, her heart racing with nervous excitement. This was her chance to prove she belonged at Cross Technologies, not because Nathan had hired her, but because she was genuinely good at her job. Dr. Patterson turned out to be as warm and professional in business as she had been with Caleb. She brought 2 colleagues and a list of concerns about software integration that Amara was able to address comprehensively. "I have to say, Mrs. Johnson, your understanding of our workflow needs is impressive," Dr. Patterson said as the meeting concluded. "When Nathan told me he'd hired someone with exceptional customer service skills, I wasn't sure what to expect. But you've exceeded every expectation. Thank you, Dr. Patterson. That means a great deal coming from you. Nathan mentioned that your son had surgery recently. I hope he's recovering well." Amara smiled. "He's doing wonderfully. Thanks to an excellent surgeon." Dr. Patterson chuckled. "Nathan said you might say that. He's very proud of both of you, you know. He talks about you and Caleb quite a bit." After the meeting, Amara returned to her office feeling confident and accomplished. She had handled Nathan's most important client successfully, completely on her own merit. For the first time since starting at Cross Technologies, she felt like she truly belonged there. Nathan appeared at her door an hour later, looking slightly out of breath. Jessica told me about the Patterson meeting. I'm so sorry I missed it. How did it go? It went perfectly, Amara said with a smile. Dr. Patterson was very complimentary about our service. Nathan's face relaxed with relief and pride. I knew she would be. You're incredible at this job, Amara. I'm starting to believe that myself. Good. Because I have some news. Patterson Medical just signed a 3-year extension on their contract, with a significant expansion of services. That's largely thanks to the relationship you've built with them. Amara felt a surge of professional pride. Really? Really? Which brings me to my next point. I'd like to promote you to Senior Customer Relations Manager, with a salary increase and a team of your own to manage. Nathan, you can't keep promoting me just because. I'm promoting you because you've earned it, he interrupted firmly. Your performance has been exceptional, your clients love you, and you've improved our customer retention rate by 15% in just 3 weeks. Amara stared at him. 15%? 15%. You have a gift for making people feel heard and valued. That's not something I can teach or buy. That's just who you are. As Amara absorbed this news, she realized something important had shifted. She was no longer the desperate woman who had crashed a wedding reception begging for work. She was a competent professional who had earned her place through skill and hard work. And maybe, just maybe, she was also a woman who deserved to be loved for who she was, not just rescued from her circumstances. That evening, when Nathan came for dinner as he had every Tuesday for the past month, Amara made a decision. Nathan, I want to talk to you about something. Okay, he said, settling onto their couch after helping Caleb with his reading homework. I've been thinking about what you said. About giving us a chance. Nathan's attention focused completely on her. And? I'm ready to try. I'm ready to see where this goes between us. Nathan's smile was brilliant. Are you sure? I'm sure. You've proven yourself over and over again. You've been patient with my fears, wonderful with my son, and you've never made me feel like I owed you anything. You don't owe me anything, Amara. But if you're willing to give me a chance to earn your heart, I promise I won't waste it. You've already started earning it, she admitted quietly. Nathan reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. So what happens now? Now we see what happens when we stop being so careful with each other. Mummy, Mr. Nathan, Caleb called from his bedroom. I'm ready for my goodnight hugs. They looked at each other and started laughing. This was their reality, romantic moments interrupted by bedtime routines and children's needs. But somehow that made it more real, more precious. Come on, Amara said, pulling Nathan toward Caleb's room. Let's go tuck in our boy. The word "our" hung in the air between them, full of possibility and promise. Their boy. Their family. Their future. It had a beautiful ring to it. Spring arrived with a burst of cherry blossoms and warm sunshine, and with it came a new rhythm to their lives. Nathan had become such a natural part of their routine that Caleb no longer announced his visits with excitement. Instead, he simply included Nathan in all his plans. Mr. Nathan, next Saturday is the school spring fair. Mummy said we can go. Will you come with us? Caleb asked over breakfast one morning, as if Nathan's attendance was a given. Nathan looked at Amara, who nodded with a smile. I wouldn't miss it, he said. What kind of things happen at a spring fair? Games and prizes and face painting and a bouncy castle, Caleb recited enthusiastically. And Mrs. Rodriguez said there's going to be a talent show where kids can sing or dance or do magic tricks. Are you going to perform in the talent show? Nathan asked. Caleb shook his head. I don't know any magic tricks. But maybe next year I'll learn some. I might know a few simple ones, Nathan said casually. Want me to teach you? Caleb's eyes went wide. You know magic? Just a few easy tricks. My grandmother taught me when I was about your age. And that was how Amara found herself watching Nathan teach her son to make a quarter disappear and reappear behind his ear, both of them sitting cross-legged on their living room floor with serious expressions of concentration. The secret is in the misdirection, Nathan explained patiently as Caleb fumbled with the coin for the 10th time. You have to make people look where you want them to look. Like this? Caleb attempted the move again, and this time managed to palm the quarter successfully. Perfect. You're a natural. Watching them together, Amara felt that now familiar warmth spread through her chest. Nathan had somehow made himself indispensable to their daily happiness without ever being intrusive or overwhelming. He brought groceries but let Amara cook. He helped with homework but deferred to her authority as Caleb's mother. He integrated himself into their family seamlessly. The spring fair turned out to be a perfect Saturday adventure. Nathan arrived at their apartment wearing jeans and a green polo shirt, looking relaxed and handsome in the casual clothes. Caleb immediately dragged him toward the school playground where booths and attractions had been set up. "Look, they have a ring toss game. Can we try it?" Caleb asked, pointing to a booth where children were attempting to throw rings onto bottles. "Of course," Nathan said, buying a handful of rings for each of them. "What prize are you aiming for?" Caleb studied the displayed prizes seriously. "The blue stuffed elephant. For Mummy." Amara's heart melted. "Sweetheart, you don't need to win me anything." "But I want to," Caleb insisted. "You work really hard and you should have a present." Nathan knelt down beside Caleb. "That's very thoughtful. Want me to show you the best technique for ring toss?" They spent the next 20 minutes perfecting Caleb's aim while Amara watched from nearby, chatting with other parents and teachers. Several people commented on what a lovely family they made, and Amara found herself not correcting them. "Got it," Caleb shouted triumphantly as one of his rings landed perfectly around a bottle neck. The booth operator handed him the blue elephant with a smile. "For you, Mummy," Caleb said proudly, presenting the prize with a bow. Amara accepted the elephant with exaggerated gratitude. "It's beautiful. Thank you so much." "Mr. Nathan helped me aim," Caleb admitted generously. "Then I should thank Mr. Nathan too," Amara said, meeting Nathan's eyes with a look that conveyed more than gratitude for carnival game assistance. They moved through the fair together, trying different games, sampling homemade treats from the bake sale, and watching Caleb's delight at each new activity. When the talent show began, they found seats on the grass near the small stage that had been set up. Children performed with varying degrees of skill and confidence. Some sang popular songs, others danced, and a few attempted magic tricks with mixed results. Caleb watched everything with rapt attention. "I wish I was brave enough to get up there," he whispered to Nathan during a particularly impressive violin performance. "You are brave," Nathan whispered back. "You had surgery and you didn't cry once. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen." "That's different. This is scary in a different way." Nathan considered this seriously. "Want to know a secret? I was terrified the first time I had to give a presentation at work. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold my notes." "Really? But you're so good at talking to people." "I got better with practice. But everyone starts somewhere." As they walked back to Nathan's car at the end of the afternoon, Caleb skipped ahead with his face painted like a tiger and a small bag of prizes from various games. The spring air was warm and sweet and Amara felt perfectly content. "Thank you for today," she said to Nathan. "You made it special for him." "I made it special for me too," Nathan replied. "I've never been to a school fair before. I didn't know what I was missing." "Really? Never?" Nathan shook his head. "My grandmother was elderly when I lived with her. She loved me but she wasn't up for things like fairs and soccer games. And before that," he shrugged, "my parents were busy with their careers. Family activities weren't really their priority." Amara felt a pang of sadness for the child Nathan had been. "Well, you're making up for lost time now." "I hope so." That evening, as they sat on Nathan's deck eating pizza and watching Caleb practice his magic tricks, Amara found herself studying Nathan's profile in the golden light of sunset. He looked relaxed and happy, more so than she'd ever seen him during business hours. "Penny for your thoughts," Nathan said, catching her staring. "Just thinking about how different you are outside of work," Amara admitted. "Different how?" "Softer. More playful. At the office you're this powerful, intimidating CEO. Here you're just Nathan, the man who teaches magic tricks and cheers for ring toss victories." Nathan was quiet for a moment. "I haven't been this version of myself in a long time. Maybe ever. You and Caleb bring out something in me I didn't know existed." "What's that?" "The desire to be part of something bigger than myself. To care about someone else's happiness more than my own success." Caleb chose that moment to attempt his quarter trick again, successfully making the coin disappear and reappear with a flourish. "Ta-da," he announced proudly. "Incredible," Nathan applauded enthusiastically. "You're definitely ready for next year's talent show. Will you help me practice more tricks?" "Absolutely. We'll make you the best magician in first grade." Later, after they'd returned to the apartment and Caleb was asleep, Nathan and Amara sat on their small couch talking quietly about work, about Caleb's continued health improvements, about small everyday things that somehow felt significant when shared. "Amara," Nathan said during a comfortable lull in conversation, Oh, I need to tell you something. The serious tone in his voice made her look up from where she'd been absently playing with the string on his hoodie. What? I'm falling in love with you. Amara's breath caught. They'd been dancing around their feelings for weeks, growing closer and more comfortable, but neither had said the actual words. Nathan. You don't have to say anything back, he continued quickly. I just wanted you to know. I'm in love with you and I'm in love with the life we're building together. I'm in love with grocery shopping and homework help and bedtime stories. I'm in love with Saturday morning pancakes and Sunday afternoon magic lessons. Amara felt tears gather in her eyes. Nathan, I love you too. His face transformed with relief and joy. You do. I do. I love how patient you are with Caleb, how you never make me feel less than capable, how you've become part of our family so naturally. I love that you listen when I talk about work and that you remember Caleb's favorite bedtime stories. Nathan reached for her hands. I love that you trust me with the most important parts of your life. It wasn't easy at first, Amara admitted. But you've proven yourself over and over. You've shown me what it means to have a real partner. They sat in the quiet of her living room, holding hands and absorbing the weight of their confessions. This was no longer about gratitude or rescue or convenience. This was about love, pure and simple. So what happens now? Amara asked. Now we keep doing exactly what we've been doing, Nathan said. Except maybe I can kiss you goodnight. Amara laughed softly. I'd like that. When Nathan leaned over to kiss her, it was gentle and sweet and full of promise. It tasted like the beginning of something beautiful. 3 weeks after their confession of love, Nathan approached Amara at work with an unexpected proposition. I have to fly to Seattle next week for a series of meetings with potential clients, he said, settling into the chair across from her desk. It's a 4-day trip, and I was wondering if you and Caleb might want to come with me. Amara looked up from her computer, surprised. A business trip? Part business, part pleasure. The meetings are only during the day, which would leave us free to explore the city in the evenings. I thought Caleb might enjoy seeing the Space Needle and the aquarium. And I thought you might enjoy not having to worry about coordinating childcare while I'm gone. The offer was tempting, but Amara hesitated. Nathan, I can't afford to take time off work right now, and I definitely can't afford a trip to Seattle. You wouldn't be taking time off work. You'd be working. I need someone I trust to handle client relations on this trip, and you're the best person for the job. As for the cost, it's a business expense. Amara raised an eyebrow. Is this a real business need or are you manufacturing reasons to take us on vacation? Nathan grinned sheepishly. It's a real business need that I may have specifically structured to include you. The clients we're meeting with have specifically requested that our customer relations manager be present for the discussions. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you don't want to be away from us for 4 days? Well, that's certainly a factor, Nathan admitted. But Amara, this is legitimate. You're good at your job, and these clients want to work with you specifically. Caleb, who had been coloring at a small table in the corner of Amara's office during their after-work conversation, looked up with interest. Are we going on an airplane? Maybe, Amara said carefully. Mr. Nathan invited us to come with him on a work trip. Caleb's eyes went wide. I've never been on an airplane before. Or seen the Space Needle. Jimmy Parker went to Seattle and said it's really tall and you can see the whole world from the top. Nathan crouched down to Caleb's level. Jimmy Parker is right. And there's an aquarium with sharks and octopuses, and a market where they throw fish through the air. They throw fish. Caleb was clearly fascinated. Right through the air to each other. It's pretty amazing. Caleb looked at his mother hopefully. Can we go, Mummy? Please? Looking at her son's excited face and Nathan's encouraging expression, Amara made her decision. Okay. Yes. Let's go to Seattle. The following Monday, Amara found herself on her first airplane with an overexcited 6-year-old and a patient man who answered approximately 100 questions about how planes work, why clouds look different from above, and whether they would see any mountains. Look, Mummy, everything is so tiny. Caleb pressed his face to the window as they flew over farmland. The houses look like toys. Nathan, sitting in the aisle seat, watched Caleb's wonder with obvious enjoyment. Wait until you see the Seattle skyline. It's pretty spectacular. They were staying at a beautiful hotel downtown, with connecting rooms so Caleb could have his own space while staying close to Amara. The view from their floor showed Elliott Bay and the ferry boats moving across the water. This is the best place ever, Caleb announced, bouncing on his hotel bed. Can we live here? This is just for a few days, sweetheart, Amara said, but she was privately thinking the same thing. The hotel was luxurious beyond anything she'd experienced, and Nathan had made sure they had every comfort. That evening, after Nathan's first day of meetings, they walked through Pike Place Market as the vendors were beginning to close up. Nathan bought Caleb a small toy fish that squeaked when squeezed, and they watched the famous fish throwing demonstration that delighted Caleb beyond measure. "How do they catch them every time?" Caleb asked, watching two vendors toss a large salmon back and forth with casual expertise. "Years of practice," Nathan explained. "They probably started with smaller fish and worked their way up." "Could I learn to throw fish?" "Maybe when you're older and stronger," Amara said diplomatically. They had dinner at a restaurant overlooking the water, where Caleb was fascinated by the ferry boats and seaplanes landing in the bay. Nathan ordered carefully, making sure there were options Caleb would enjoy while still treating them to local specialties. "This is the best trip ever," Caleb declared over dessert, his face serious with the importance of his announcement. "It's pretty great," Nathan agreed, meeting Amara's eyes across the table with a look of quiet contentment. Back at the hotel, they established an evening routine that felt natural and domestic. Nathan helped Caleb with his bath while Amara organized their clothes for the next day. Then they all piled onto the large bed in Nathan's room to watch a movie, Caleb curled between them in his pajamas. "Mr. Nathan," Caleb said sleepily as the credits rolled. "Are you going to marry my mummy?" Amara nearly choked on her water. "Caleb, that's not an appropriate question." "Why not?" "I like Mr. Nathan and he likes us, and married people live together and go on trips together. We're already doing those things." Nathan handled the question with his characteristic thoughtfulness. "Marriage is a very important decision that adults make when they're ready, buddy. Your mom and I care about each other a lot, but we're taking things slowly." "Okay," Caleb said, apparently satisfied with this answer. "But when you do get married, can I be in the wedding?" "If we get married, you would definitely be in the wedding," Nathan promised. "You'd be the most important person there besides your mom." "Cool. Can I wear a fancy suit like you wear to work?" "The fanciest suit we can find." The next day, while Nathan was in meetings, Amara and Caleb explored the Seattle Center. They rode the monorail, visited the Space Needle, and spent hours at the Pacific Science Center where Caleb marveled at interactive exhibits about space and dinosaurs. "Look, Mummy, this one shows how big a T-Rex tooth was," Caleb called excitedly from across the dinosaur exhibit. Amara joined him at the display, reading the information card. "That's enormous. No wonder they were such effective hunters. Mr. Nathan would love this. Can we bring him here tomorrow? We'll see what his schedule looks like." That evening, Nathan returned to the hotel with a tired but satisfied expression. "How was your day?" he asked, settling onto the couch in their suite. "Amazing," Caleb answered for both of them, launching into a detailed description of every exhibit they'd seen. "And tomorrow we want to show you the dinosaur teeth if you're not too busy." "I'm never too busy for dinosaur teeth," Nathan said seriously. "In fact, I specifically scheduled my meetings to end early tomorrow so we could all go to the aquarium together." "Really? You did that for us?" "I did that for us," Nathan confirmed. "This is supposed to be a vacation too, remember?" The third day turned out to be perfect. Nathan's morning meetings concluded successfully, with two new major clients signing preliminary agreements. The afternoon at the Seattle Aquarium was magical, with Caleb pressing his face to every tank and Nathan reading him information about each species with infinite patience. "The octopus is my new favorite," Caleb declared, watching the graceful creature move through its habitat. "They're really smart and they can change colors." "They are incredible," Nathan agreed. "Did you know they can solve puzzles and escape from tanks?" "Really? That's so cool." That evening, they dressed up for a special dinner at the hotel restaurant. Nathan wore a suit, Amara put on the one dress she'd packed, and Caleb wore his best button-down shirt and looked impossibly grown up. "We look like a real family," Caleb observed, examining their reflection in the elevator mirror. "We are a real family," Nathan said quietly, and Amara felt her heart skip at the certainty in his voice. Dinner was elegant and delicious, and Caleb managed to use his best table manners throughout the multiple courses. Other diners smiled at his polite excitement and the obvious affection between the three of them. "I have something for both of you," Nathan said as they finished dessert, pulling out two small wrapped boxes. "Presents?" Caleb's eyes lit up. "Special presents to remember our trip," Nathan said, handing Caleb the smaller box first. Inside was a silver bracelet similar to the emergency one Nathan had given him after his surgery, but this one was engraved with Seattle Adventure 2025 and had a small Space Needle charm. "It's perfect," Caleb breathed, holding out his wrist so Nathan could fasten it. Now I have 2 special bracelets from you. Nathan turned to Amara with the second box, his expression nervous. This one is for you. Amara opened it carefully to reveal a delicate silver necklace with a pendant shaped like the Seattle skyline. It was beautiful and thoughtful, clearly chosen specifically for her rather than being an expensive generic gift. Nathan, it's gorgeous, she said, fingering the delicate metalwork. Let me put it on you, he said, moving behind her chair to fasten the clasp. His fingers were warm against her neck, and Amara shivered slightly at the intimate gesture. How do I look? She asked, turning to face him. Beautiful, Nathan said simply, his eyes holding hers with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. Later that night, after Caleb was settled in his connecting room, Amara and Nathan sat on the balcony of their suite looking out at the lights of the city. The Seattle skyline sparkled in the distance, and ferries moved across the dark water like illuminated toys. Thank you for this, Amara said quietly. For bringing us, for making it so special, for giving Caleb experiences I never could have provided on my own. Thank you for coming, Nathan replied. For trusting me enough to say yes, for sharing this with me. It's been perfect. All of it. Nathan turned to look at her in the moonlight. Amara, I want to ask you something, and I want you to know there's no pressure to answer right away. Amara's heart began to race. Okay. How would you feel about moving in together? Not immediately, not without talking it through completely, but eventually? Amara was quiet for a moment, absorbing the question. Are you asking because it would be convenient or because you want us to be a family? I'm asking because I love waking up in the same place you do. I love the sound of Caleb's laughter in the morning and the way you hum while you make coffee. I love coming home to people who are genuinely happy to see me. Nathan paused. I'm asking because I want us to be a family, officially and permanently. What would that look like practically? However you want it to look. You could move into my house, or we could find a place together, or I could move into a bigger apartment near your current neighborhood. The location doesn't matter. What matters is that we're together. Amara considered this carefully. Caleb loves your house. He's comfortable there and he's attached to that swing set. So you're considering it? I'm more than considering it, Amara said softly. I think I want it too. I want us to be a real family. Nathan's smile was radiant. Really? Really? But Nathan, if we do this, it can't be temporary. Caleb needs stability, and I need to know you're committed to this for the long term. Amara, I'm committed to this for life. I want to adopt Caleb if you'll let me. I want to marry you if you'll have me. I want to build a future with both of you. Amara felt tears gather in her eyes. Are you proposing to me? Nathan laughed softly. Not officially. When I propose to you, it's going to be more romantic than a hotel balcony after a business dinner. But I'm telling you my intentions. I love you, I love Caleb, and I want us to be a family in every way that matters. I love you too, Amara whispered. And yes, I want that too. Nathan leaned over to kiss her, soft and sweet under the Seattle stars. When they broke apart, Amara was smiling through her tears. So we're really doing this? She asked. We're really doing this. From the connecting room, they heard Caleb talking softly to himself as he settled into sleep. Best trip ever? His voice drifted through the door. Best family ever. Amara and Nathan looked at each other and started laughing quietly. Their boy had summed it up perfectly. 2 weeks after their return from Seattle, Nathan invited Amara and Caleb to Sunday dinner at his cousin Rebecca's house. It would be Amara's first time meeting Nathan's extended family as his girlfriend rather than just someone he'd helped at a wedding reception. Are you nervous? Nathan asked as they walked up the front steps of Rebecca's colonial-style home in the suburbs. Terrified, Amara admitted quietly. What if they don't like me? What if they think you're making a mistake? They're going to love you, Nathan said confidently. And even if they didn't, it wouldn't change how I feel about you. Caleb, holding Nathan's hand and wearing his best blue button-down shirt, seemed completely unconcerned about meeting new people. Will there be other kids there? Rebecca's husband has a daughter from his first marriage who's about your age, Nathan told him. Her name is Sophie and she loves dinosaurs almost as much as you do. The front door opened before they could knock, revealing Rebecca in a floral dress and apron, her face bright with welcome. You must be Amara, she said warmly, pulling Amara into an unexpected hug. I'm so glad to finally meet you properly. And you must be Caleb. Nathan talks about you constantly. Hi, Caleb said politely. Thank you for inviting us to your house. Such good manners, Rebecca beamed. Come in, come in. Everyone's dying to meet you. The house was filled with the warm chaos of family dinner preparation. In the kitchen, Nathan's uncle Robert was carving a roast while Rebecca's husband Michael set the table with help from a girl with brown curls who looked to be about 7. "Sophie, come meet Caleb," Rebecca called. "He's the one I told you about who knows everything about dinosaurs." Sophie approached with the shy boldness of childhood. "Do you really know about dinosaurs?" "I know lots about them," Caleb replied seriously. "Do you want to hear about the difference between carnivores and herbivores?" "Yes," Sophie said immediately, and within minutes they were settled on the living room floor with Sophie's collection of dinosaur books spread between them. "Well, that was easy," Nathan observed, watching the children bond over a detailed discussion of pterodactyl wing structures. Over the next hour, more family members arrived. Nathan's Aunt Patricia, a retired teacher with kind eyes and graying hair. His cousin James with his wife Lisa and their twin toddlers. Michael's parents, visiting from Florida. The house filled with conversation and laughter and the comfortable chaos of people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Amara found herself gradually relaxing as Nathan's family welcomed her with natural warmth. They asked about her work, complimented Caleb's politeness, and included her in conversations without making her feel like she was being interviewed. "Nathan tells us you're doing wonderful work at his company," Patricia said, settling beside Amara on the living room couch. "Customer relations, right?" "Yes, I'm really enjoying it. The healthcare technology field is fascinating. And challenging, I'm sure. Nathan mentioned you improved their customer retention significantly." Amara glanced at Nathan, who was deep in conversation with James about baseball. "He said that. He's very proud of your professional accomplishments," Patricia said with a knowing smile. "But he's even more proud of what a wonderful mother you are. He lights up when he talks about you and Caleb. Your nephew has been incredibly kind to us." "Kind, yes. But also smitten," Patricia laughed. "I haven't seen Nathan this happy since, well, ever actually. You've been good for him." Dinner was a lively affair around a large dining table that accommodated everyone comfortably. Caleb sat between Sophie and Nathan, chattering excitedly about their upcoming move to Nathan's house while the adults discussed everything from local politics to vacation plans. "So when is the wedding?" Michael asked casually, passing the mashed potatoes. Amara nearly choked on her water. "Wedding? Michael," Rebecca scolded. "Don't put them on the spot." "What? They're moving in together, they're clearly crazy about each other, and Caleb keeps talking about wanting a dad. I'm just asking when we should save the date." Nathan handled the question smoothly. "When we're ready to plan a wedding, you'll be the first to know." "But you are planning to marry Mummy, right?" Caleb asked innocently, looking at Nathan with complete trust. The entire table fell silent, waiting for Nathan's response. He looked at Caleb seriously, then at Amara, then back at Caleb. "If your mom says yes when I ask her properly, then yes, buddy. I definitely want to marry her." "She'll say yes," Caleb announced confidently. "She loves you. She told me so." Amara felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment while the rest of the table burst into delighted laughter. "Out of the mouths of babes," Robert chuckled. "The boy knows what he's talking about." After dinner, while the adults cleaned up, the children played in the backyard. Through the kitchen window, Amara watched Caleb and Sophie take turns on the swing set, their friendship already solid despite having met only hours before. "He's a special kid," Lisa observed, following Amara's gaze. "So polite and thoughtful. You should be proud." "I am. He's been through a lot, but he's remained sweet and optimistic." Nathan mentioned he had surgery recently. "How is he doing?" "Perfectly. Dr. Patterson said his recovery was textbook, and his breathing is completely normal now." Amara paused. "Nathan made that possible. Without his help, I don't know what would have happened." "And now you're helping Nathan," Rebecca said, joining their conversation. "He needed family, needed to remember what it felt like to love and be loved unconditionally. You've given him that." As the evening wound down, Nathan's family made plans for future gatherings. Sophie extracted a promise from Caleb to come to her birthday party the following month. Patricia invited them for Easter dinner. James suggested a family barbecue when the weather got warmer. "They're including us in everything," Amara murmured to Nathan as they helped carry dessert plates to the kitchen. "Because you're family now," Nathan said simply. "That's how it works." On the drive home, Caleb chattered excitedly about Sophie and the dinosaur books she'd promised to lend him and how Uncle Robert had taught him to whistle. In the front seat, Amara reflected on how easily they'd been absorbed into Nathan's family circle. "That was wonderful," she said quietly. "Your family is lovely. They adore you. And they're completely enchanted with Caleb." It felt so natural. Like we belong there. You do belong there. You belong wherever I am. Later that night, after Caleb was asleep and they were relaxing on Nathan's couch, Amara brought up the dinner conversation. About what Michael asked and what Caleb said. Nathan turned to face her fully. What about it? Did you mean it? About wanting to marry me? Every word. Amara, I know we haven't been together very long by traditional standards, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Even with all the complications? Taking on a child, dealing with my baggage, navigating the differences in our backgrounds? Nathan reached for her hands. Especially with all those things. Caleb isn't a complication, he's a gift. Your past isn't baggage, it's what made you into the strong, resilient woman I love. And as for our different backgrounds, they don't matter. What matters is that we want the same things. A family, a home filled with love, a future together. Amara felt the last of her reservations melt away. I want that too. Good. Because I already have my grandmother's ring in my safe at home, and I've been trying to plan the perfect proposal for weeks. Amara's eyes went wide. You have a ring? I've had it since she died. She always said I'd know when I met the right person. Nathan smiled. I knew the night we met, Amara. Everything since then has just been waiting for you to know it too. I know it now, Amara whispered. I love you, Nathan Cross. And yes, I will marry you whenever you ask. Nathan's smile was brilliant. Even if I ask right now, sitting on my couch in sweatpants? Even then. Good to know, Nathan said, pulling her closer. But you deserve better than a sweatpants proposal. Give me a little more time to make it special. As long as you're sure this is what you want. Amara, marrying you and adopting Caleb and building a life together is the only thing I want. Everything else is just details. Sitting in Nathan's arms, surrounded by the warmth and security he provided so effortlessly, Amara marveled at how completely their lives had changed. 6 months ago, she had been struggling alone, desperate and frightened about the future. Now she was planning a wedding and looking forward to a lifetime of love and stability. Sometimes fairy tales did come true. Sometimes Prince Charming appeared at wedding receptions and rescued single mothers with kind hearts and genuine commitment. Sometimes love really was enough to overcome any obstacle. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, your 6-year-old son's simple faith and happy endings turned out to be absolutely right. The morning after their conversation about marriage, Amara woke up with a stomach full of butterflies and a head full of doubts. In the bright light of day, the idea of marrying Nathan Cross seemed overwhelming. What did she really know about being part of his world long-term? These thoughts followed her through breakfast with Caleb, through the commute to work and into her morning meetings. By lunch she was questioning everything. You're quiet today, Nathan observed, settling into the chair across from her desk with 2 cups of coffee. Everything okay? Amara looked up from the client files she'd been staring at without actually reading. Can we talk? Privately? Nathan's expression immediately grew concerned. Of course. My office or yours? Yours if that's okay. 5 minutes later, they were settled in Nathan's corner office with the door closed and the downtown skyline spread out before them. Nathan waited patiently while Amara gathered her thoughts. I'm scared, she said finally. About what specifically? About marrying you. About what that means for Caleb and me long-term. About whether we really belong in your world. Nathan leaned back in his chair, studying her face carefully. What's brought this on? Last night you seemed happy about the idea. Last night I was caught up in the moment. Today I'm thinking practically. Amara stood up and began pacing in front of his windows. Nathan, you're a multimillionaire CEO. You have a house in the most expensive neighborhood in the city. You vacation in places I can't pronounce and wear suits that cost more than I used to make in a month. And that bothers you? It bothers me that I don't know how to navigate that world. What happens when you take me to fancy business dinners and I don't know which fork to use? What happens when Caleb starts school in your neighborhood and the other parents look down on us because we don't fit in? Nathan was quiet for a moment. Are you worried about the practical aspects, or are you worried that I'll be embarrassed by you? Both, Amara admitted quietly. Nathan stood up and moved to stand in front of her, stopping her pacing with gentle hands on her shoulders. Amara, look at me. She met his eyes reluctantly. I have never, not for 1 second, been embarrassed by you or Caleb. You handle my biggest clients with more skill and grace than people with decades of experience. You raised an amazing child under incredibly difficult circumstances. You have more class in your little finger than most of the people in my so-called social circle. But what about? No, Nathan interrupted firmly. There are no what-abouts. If you're worried about etiquette, we can take a class together. If you're worried about fitting in with other parents, you should know that most of them are more concerned with their children's happiness than anyone's bank account. And if anyone ever does make you feel unwelcome, they'll answer to me. Amara felt tears building. I just don't want to hold you back or embarrass you or... Stop. Nathan cupped her face in his hands. You could never hold me back. You've made me better, Amara. You've made me happier, more grounded, more aware of what really matters. Marrying you wouldn't be settling or compromising. It would be the best decision I've ever made. How can you be so sure? Because I know you. I know your heart, your strength, your character. Those things don't change based on zip codes or bank balances. Amara leaned into his touch, wanting to believe him but still struggling with doubt. What if Caleb feels out of place in your world? What if he thrives in it? What if having access to better schools and opportunities and experiences helps him become everything he's capable of being? Nathan paused. And what if it doesn't matter either way because the most important thing is that he has two parents who love him unconditionally? Before Amara could respond, Nathan's phone buzzed with a text. He glanced at it and smiled. Speaking of Caleb, he just texted me a picture of his science project. Want to see? Amara looked at Nathan's phone to see a photo of Caleb holding up a poster about the solar system, grinning proudly at the camera. He texted you directly? I gave him my number last week when you were working late. He likes to send me updates about his day. Nathan showed her several other messages. A photo of Caleb's lunch, a picture of a cool cloud formation he'd spotted, a selfie with his teacher. Looking at the messages, Amara felt something settle in her chest. This wasn't about money or social status. This was about family. Nathan wasn't trying to buy their affection or impress them with his wealth. He was simply loving them exactly as they were. He really loves you, she said softly. I really love him too. And I really love you. Amara took a deep breath, letting her fears dissolve in the face of simple truth. I love you too. And I'm sorry for panicking. Don't apologize for having concerns. They're valid. But Amara will figure everything out together. That's what partners do. Partners? Amara repeated, liking the sound of it. Partners. Equals. A team. Nathan pulled her closer. I don't want to take care of you like you're a charity case. I want to build a life with you like you're my equal, because that's exactly what you are. Even though I'm not. You're everything that matters, Nathan interrupted. You're intelligent, compassionate, strong, and beautiful. You're an amazing mother and a talented professional. You make me laugh and you make me want to be better. What more could I possibly want? That evening, Nathan picked them up for dinner at a restaurant Amara had never heard of. When they arrived, she understood why. It was the kind of place with cloth napkins and multiple courses and a wine list longer than most books. Nathan, this is too fancy, she whispered as the maitre d' led them to their table. It's perfect, Nathan said confidently. Trust me. The meal turned out to be magical. The staff treated Caleb like a young prince, bringing him a special children's menu with pictures and crayons. The food was incredible but not intimidating. Nathan ordered expertly but explained everything to Amara without making her feel ignorant. This is the best chicken I've ever had, Caleb announced, cutting his meal carefully with the child-sized silverware they provided. It's coco vin, Nathan explained. Chicken cooked in wine sauce. French cooking. French people make good chicken, Caleb said seriously. Do they make good dessert too? Wait and see, Nathan said with a smile. When dessert arrived, it was a work of art. Chocolate soufflé with raspberry sauce and delicate sugar decorations. Caleb's eyes went wide with wonder. It's too pretty to eat, he breathed. But it tastes even better than it looks, Nathan encouraged. Try it. As they shared the dessert, Amara realized that Nathan was right. This wasn't about proving anything or impressing anyone. This was about experiencing good things together as a family. The fancy restaurant wasn't intimidating when you were with people who loved you. Thank you for this, she said to Nathan as they waited for their car. Thank you for giving us another chance, he replied. For not letting fear win. I'm still scared sometimes, Amara admitted. That's okay. I'm scared sometimes too. You? What are you scared of? Nathan looked down at Caleb, who was holding both their hands and swinging between them as they walked. I'm scared of messing this up. I'm scared of not being the father Caleb deserves or the husband you need. I'm scared of disappointing the two most important people in my world. Amara squeezed his hand. You won't mess it up. You're already the father Caleb deserves and the partner I need. How do you know? Because you care enough to be scared. Because you put us first. Because you see us as family, not obligations. That night, as Amara tucked Caleb into bed, he surprised her with his own perspective on their evening. "Mummy, I think Mr. Nathan is going to ask you to marry him soon." "What makes you think that?" "Because he kept looking at you like he had a secret. And because he asked me if I would be happy if he became my real daddy." Amara's heart skipped. "He asked you that? When you went to the bathroom?" "He said he wanted to make sure I was okay with it before he talked to you about it." "And what did you tell him?" Caleb smiled sleepily. "I told him I've been waiting for him to ask. I like having a dad who helps with homework and teaches magic tricks and makes you smile all the time." As Amara turned off Caleb's light, she felt the last of her doubts fade away. Nathan wasn't just promising to marry her. He was promising to be Caleb's father in every way that mattered. He was asking permission from a 6-year-old because he understood that their love came as a package deal. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, Amara was certain of one thing. Nathan Cross loved them both completely, unconditionally, and forever. Everything else was just details they would work out together. Have you ever been afraid to trust in happiness because it seemed too good to be true? Sometimes love requires a leap of faith. Share your thoughts below and subscribe to see how this beautiful love story reaches its perfect conclusion. 3 days later, Nathan appeared at Amara's office door with an unusual request. "I need you to help me with something," he said, looking slightly nervous. "It's personal." "Of course. What do you need?" "I need you to keep Caleb busy this Saturday afternoon. Take him somewhere fun, maybe that new children's museum he's been wanting to visit. Just don't come home until I call you." Amara raised an eyebrow. "Nathan Cross, are you planning something?" Nathan's attempt at an innocent expression failed completely. "I might be planning something. But I need your help to pull it off." "What kind of help?" "The kind where you trust me and don't ask too many questions." Amara studied his face, noting the excitement he was trying to hide. "This is about the proposal, isn't it?" "I'm not admitting anything," Nathan said, but his smile gave him away. "Just Saturday afternoon. Keep him busy until I call." "Okay," Amara agreed, her heart racing with anticipation. "I can do that." Saturday morning arrived with spring sunshine and Caleb's endless energy. Nathan joined them for breakfast as usual, but Amara noticed he seemed distracted, checking his phone frequently and making mysterious calls from the balcony. "Mr. Nathan seems nervous," Caleb observed, watching Nathan pace outside while talking on his phone. "Is he okay?" "He's fine, sweetheart. He's just planning something special." "Like a surprise?" "Maybe like a surprise." After lunch, Amara suggested the outing to the children's museum that Nathan had recommended. Caleb was thrilled, and they spent hours exploring interactive exhibits about space, dinosaurs, and how things work. But Amara found herself checking her phone constantly, waiting for Nathan's call. Finally, at 4:30, her phone rang. "Are you ready?" Nathan's voice was tight with nerves and excitement. "We're ready." "Are you ready?" "I think so. I hope so." "Come home." The drive back to Nathan's house felt endless. Caleb chattered about the museum exhibits, but Amara barely heard him, her mind racing with possibilities. When they turned onto Nathan Street, she noticed several cars in the driveway that hadn't been there that morning. "Whose cars are those?" Caleb asked, pressing his face to the window. "I don't know, sweetheart. Let's go find out." Nathan met them at the front door, looking handsome and nervous in a navy suit. His smile was brilliant but shaky. "How was the museum?" he asked, ruffling Caleb's hair. "Amazing. They had a whole dinosaur skeleton that you could touch, and a space simulator that made me feel like I was flying to Mars." "That sounds incredible." "Caleb, I need to talk to your mom about something important. Do you think you could help me?" Caleb's eyes went wide with understanding. "Is it time for the special surprise?" "It's time for the special surprise." Nathan led them through the house toward the backyard, his hand warm and slightly trembling in Amara's. When he opened the French doors to the deck, Amara gasped. The backyard had been transformed into something magical. White lights were strung through every tree and wrapped around the pergola. Flowers filled every corner, creating bursts of color against the green lawn. A small string quartet sat in one corner, playing soft classical music. And scattered throughout the space were Nathan's family members, all smiling and holding cameras. "Nathan," Amara breathed, taking in the beautiful scene. "I wanted everyone who loves us to be here," Nathan said softly. "I wanted this to be perfect." He led her to the center of the yard, where a circle of rose petals had been arranged around the very swing set where Caleb had played on their first visit to the house. Caleb ran ahead, clearly knowing his role in whatever Nathan had planned. "Mummy, come stand in the circle," Caleb called, pointing to the rose petals. Amara moved to the center of the circle, her heart pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Nathan stood at the edge, his expression serious and tender. "Amara Johnson," Nathan began, his voice carrying clearly in the quiet yard. "6 months ago you crashed into my life at the most desperate moment of yours. You were looking for work to save your son's life, and instead, you saved mine." Amara felt tears already building as Nathan continued. "You taught me what family really means. You showed me that love isn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's about showing up every day, putting each other first, and building something beautiful together." Nathan moved closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "You've made me a better man, a happier man, and soon I hope, a father. Because Caleb isn't just your son anymore. He's our son. He's taught me that being a dad isn't about biology. It's about bedtime stories and homework help and magic tricks and unconditional love." By now, Amara was crying freely, not caring that dozens of people were watching and photographing every moment. Nathan reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Then, to Amara's surprise, he knelt down on one knee in the circle of rose petals. "Amara Johnson, will you marry me? Will you let me be your partner, your equal, your teammate for the rest of our lives? Will you let me adopt Caleb and be his father in every way that matters?" Amara looked down at Nathan's hopeful face, then at the ring he was holding, a beautiful vintage setting with a classic round diamond that caught the light from the string lights above them. It was elegant and timeless, perfect for her. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes. Of course yes." Nathan's relief and joy were visible as he slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made for her hand. Then he stood and pulled her into his arms, spinning her around while their family and friends cheered and applauded. When Nathan set her down, Caleb rushed over to examine the ring. "It's so sparkly," he said with awe. "Does this mean Mr. Nathan is going to be my real daddy now?" "If that's what you want," Nathan said, crouching down to Caleb's level. "I would be honored to be your dad, Caleb. I love you so much." "I love you too, Daddy," Caleb said, wrapping his arms around Nathan's neck in a fierce hug. The word, daddy, made everyone cry, including several of Nathan's male cousins who tried to hide their emotions behind congratulatory backslapping. The next hour was a blur of hugs, congratulations, and photographs. Rebecca and Patricia had apparently been part of the planning committee, bringing champagne and cake to celebrate. Nathan's family welcomed Amara with tears and joy, and Caleb basked in the attention as everyone praised his important role in the proposal. "How long have you been planning this?" Amara asked Nathan during a quiet moment, admiring her ring in the soft light. "Since the day I bought the swing set," Nathan admitted. "I knew I wanted to propose here where Caleb first felt at home, where we first started feeling like a family. It's perfect. All of it. Are you happy?" Amara looked around at the magical backyard, at Nathan's family celebrating their engagement, at Caleb showing off his Daddy Nathan to anyone who would listen. "I'm more than happy. I'm complete." As the evening wound down and guests began to leave, Nathan, Amara, and Caleb found themselves alone in their transformed backyard. The string quartet had packed up, but the lights remained, casting everything in a romantic glow. "So what happens now?" Amara asked, snuggled against Nathan's side on the porch swing while Caleb played quietly with some toys nearby. "Now we plan a wedding," Nathan said. "And I start the adoption paperwork for Caleb. And we officially become a family. When do you want to get married?" Nathan was quiet for a moment, considering. "How do you feel about Christmas?" "Christmas. It's 7 months away, which gives us time to plan, but not so much time that we overthink everything. Plus, Caleb will be on winter break, so we can take a proper honeymoon without worrying about school." "A Christmas wedding sounds magical," Amara agreed. "Where?" Nathan smiled. "I was thinking here. In our backyard. Where everything started." "Our backyard," Amara repeated, loving the sound of it. "I like that." "Daddy Nathan," Caleb called from where he was arranging his toys. "When you marry Mummy, can I walk her down the aisle?" "That's usually what the father of the bride does," Nathan said seriously. "But in our case, I think the son of the bride would be perfect for the job." "Cool. I'll need a really fancy suit." "The fanciest suit we can find," Nathan promised. Later that night, after they'd moved Caleb's things into his room at Nathan's house officially and permanently, Amara and Nathan sat in their bedroom looking at wedding magazines and discussing plans. I can't believe this is real, Amara said, turning her engagement ring to catch the lamplight. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to wake up and discover the last 6 months were just a dream. If it's a dream, then we're both having it, Nathan said, pulling her closer. And I never want to wake up. Nathan, can I ask you something? Anything. Are you sure you want to adopt Caleb? Legally, I mean. It's a big step, and once it's done, he'll be my son forever, legally and in every other way that matters, Nathan finished. Amara, I've never been more sure of anything. I want him to have my name. I want to be the one who signs permission slips and shows up at school events and teaches him to drive someday. He'll be so happy. He's wanted a dad for so long. And I've wanted a son without even knowing it. Caleb didn't just get a father today. I got the child I never knew I was missing. Amara felt tears gather again. How did I get so lucky? We both got lucky. We found each other exactly when we needed to. As they settled into sleep in their shared bed for the first time as an engaged couple, Amara reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this moment. 6 months ago, she had been desperate and alone, crashing a wedding reception in search of work. Tonight, she was engaged to a wonderful man, living in a beautiful home, and watching her son thrive in ways she'd never imagined possible. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new joys. Wedding planning and adoption paperwork and the daily work of building a life together. But tonight, surrounded by love and security and the promise of forever, Amara fell asleep completely at peace. Some fairy tales really did come true. Some guardian angels really did appear when you needed them most. And sometimes, if you were very, very lucky, desperate moments led to the most beautiful beginnings. Christmas Eve dawned crisp and clear, with just enough snow on the ground to make everything look magical but not enough to complicate wedding plans. Amara woke up in the guest room where she'd spent the night, surrounded by Rebecca and Patricia, who had insisted on traditional pre-wedding separation. Today's the day, Rebecca said softly, pulling back the curtains to reveal the winter wonderland outside. How are you feeling? Perfect, Amara said and meant it. Excited, nervous, happy. Everything all at once. Over the past 7 months, planning the wedding had been a joy rather than a stress. Nathan had insisted on hiring a wedding planner, but he'd made it clear that every decision was Amara's to make. She'd chosen simple elegance over elaborate luxury, focusing on family and love rather than impressing anyone. The ceremony would take place in their backyard at sunset, followed by dinner and dancing under a heated tent. 50 guests, mostly family and close friends. Caleb would walk Amara down the aisle before taking his place as Nathan's best man. The whole thing was designed to be warm, intimate, and perfectly them. Where's Caleb? Amara asked, sitting up in bed. Getting ready with Nathan and the men, Patricia said with a smile. He was up at dawn, making sure his suit was perfect and practicing his ring-bearing duties. The adoption had been finalized 2 months earlier, in a courthouse ceremony that left everyone in tears. Caleb was now officially Caleb Johnson Cross, and Nathan was legally his father in every way. The transformation in her son had been remarkable. He was more confident, more secure, more willing to try new things now that he knew he had a dad who would always be there for him. I have something for you, Rebecca said, producing a wrapped box. From Nathan. He wanted you to have it before the ceremony. Inside was a delicate bracelet with 3 charms, a small heart engraved with Amara, a tiny swing set, and a miniature wedding ring. The accompanying note read, "For my beautiful bride." The heart represents my love, the swing set represents where our family began, and the ring represents our forever. I can't wait to marry you today. All my love, Nathan. Amara felt tears threaten her carefully applied makeup. He's going to make me cry before we even get to the altar. That's what good husbands do, Patricia said with experience. They make you cry happy tears for the rest of your life. 2 hours later, Amara stood in front of her bedroom mirror in her wedding dress, hardly recognizing herself. The dress was simple but stunning. Ivory silk with delicate lace sleeves and a flowing skirt that made her feel like a princess. Her hair was arranged in an elegant updo with small white flowers woven through it. Nathan's grandmother's pearl necklace completed the look. Mummy, you look like a real princess, Caleb announced from the doorway, resplendent in his tiny black tuxedo with a red bow tie that matched Nathan's. You look pretty handsome yourself, sweetheart. Are you ready for this? I've been ready forever, Caleb said seriously. Daddy Nathan is waiting for us outside. He looks really nervous and really happy. How do I look? Amara asked, turning for Caleb's inspection. Like the most beautiful mommy in the whole world. Daddy Nathan is going to cry when he sees you. Through the window, Amara could see their guests taking their seats in the decorated backyard. White chairs arranged in neat rows, evergreen garlands wrapped with lights, and an archway of winter flowers where she would say her vows. The sun was beginning to set, casting everything in golden light. "It's time," Rebecca said softly. Amara took Caleb's arm, and together they walked through the house toward their new beginning. At the French doors leading to the backyard, she could hear the string quartet playing Canon in D, and see Nathan waiting at the altar with the officiant. When the doors opened and the music changed to "Here Comes the Bride," every guest stood and turned to watch Amara and Caleb begin their walk down the aisle. But Amara only had eyes for Nathan. He looked magnificent in his black tuxedo with the red bow tie that matched Caleb's. His hair was perfectly styled, but his eyes were already bright with unshed tears. When he saw her, his face transformed with such pure joy and love that Amara felt her own tears threaten. Halfway down the aisle, Caleb whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Daddy Nathan, doesn't Mummy look beautiful?" "The most beautiful woman in the world," Nathan called back, making their guests laugh and cry at the same time. At the altar, Caleb formally presented Amara to Nathan with the solemnity of a royal page. "Here's my mummy, Daddy Nathan. Take good care of her." "I promise I will, buddy," Nathan said, accepting Amara's hand with reverence. The ceremony itself was perfect in its simplicity. They had written their own vows, promising to love and support each other through all of life's adventures. Nathan promised to be the father Caleb deserved and the husband Amara needed. Amara promised to love Nathan completely and build a home filled with laughter and joy. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Nathan's kiss was tender and full of promise. As they broke apart, Caleb threw rose petals in the air and shouted, "We're a real family now." The reception was everything they had hoped for. Dinner under the twinkling lights of the tent, with Caleb giving a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. "Thank you for coming to my parents' wedding. My daddy Nathan makes the best pancakes and my mummy is the smartest person ever. I'm glad they found each other so I could have the best family in the world." Nathan's first dance with Amara was to "At Last" by Etta James, and halfway through the song, Caleb joined them on the dance floor, creating a family moment that had every guest reaching for tissues. As the evening progressed, Amara found herself marveling at how naturally everything flowed. Nathan's family and her few close friends mingled easily. Caleb charmed every adult and played happily with Sophie and the other children. The celebration felt warm and genuine, exactly what they had wanted. "Happy?" Nathan asked during a quiet moment, holding her close as they swayed to a slow song. "Perfectly happy," Amara replied. "This is everything I dreamed of and more." "Good, because this is just the beginning. We have a whole lifetime of happiness ahead of us." "Speaking of which, where exactly are we going on our honeymoon?" Amara asked. Nathan had insisted on keeping their destination a surprise. Nathan grinned. "You'll find out tomorrow. But I will say this, pack for warm weather and beach activities." "And Caleb?" "Caleb is going to have the best week ever with Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia. They're planning a daily adventure schedule that includes the zoo, the science museum, ice skating, and at least 3 trips to get ice cream." Late that night, after the last guest had gone home and Caleb was asleep in his room, Nathan and Amara sat in their living room still in their wedding clothes, sharing a final piece of cake and looking at photos from the day. "Look at this one," Nathan said, showing her a picture of Caleb walking her down the aisle, his little face serious with concentration and pride. "He was so focused on doing everything perfectly," Amara said. "He practiced for weeks. He did perfectly. We all did perfectly." Amara curled up against Nathan's side, feeling the satisfying weight of her wedding ring alongside her engagement ring. "Mrs. Cross," she said experimentally. "Mrs. Cross," Nathan repeated. "I love the sound of that. Amara Johnson Cross actually. I want to keep part of my original name. Whatever makes you happy makes me happy." They sat in comfortable silence, absorbing the reality of their new status as husband and wife. Outside, snow began to fall again, adding to the magic of their perfect wedding day. "Nathan," Amara said quietly. "Thank you. For everything. For saving us, for loving us, for giving us this beautiful life." Nathan turned to look at her seriously. "Amara, you saved me just as much as I saved you. Before you and Caleb, I was successful but empty. I had everything money could buy and nothing that really mattered. You gave me love, family, purpose. You made my life worth living." "We saved each other then." "We saved each other," Nathan agreed. "And now we get to spend the rest of our lives being grateful for it." As they finally headed upstairs to their bedroom as husband and wife, Amara felt overwhelmed with gratitude for the journey that had brought them to this moment. From desperate single mother to beloved wife and partner, from lonely CEO to devoted husband and father, they had found their perfect match in each other. Tomorrow would bring their honeymoon and new adventures. Next year would bring new challenges and new joys. But tonight, in their beautiful home with their sleeping son nearby and their love strong and true, they were exactly where they belonged. The fairy tale was complete, but the real love story was just beginning. 6 months after their perfect Christmas wedding, Amara sat in the sunny kitchen of their home, watching Nathan help Caleb with his first-grade reading homework while she reviewed client reports for Cross Technologies. The morning routine had become second nature. Nathan made pancakes, Amara packed lunches, and Caleb chattered about everything from dinosaurs to his best friend Sophie to his teacher's new bulletin board. "Daddy, this word is hard," Caleb said, pointing to a sentence in his book. "Sound it out, buddy. What does the first part say?" Experiment? Perfect. And what comes next?" The scene was so domestic, so beautifully ordinary, that Amara had to pause and appreciate it. This was the life she had dreamed of during those desperate months when she was working 3 jobs and watching Caleb struggle to breathe. This was the family she had hoped for but never dared to expect. "I have some news," Nathan said during breakfast, his tone casual but his eyes bright with excitement. "Good news or bad news?" Caleb asked, always direct. "Very good news. The Patterson Medical Group wants to expand their partnership with us. They're opening 3 new facilities, and they want Cross Technologies to handle all their customer relations and software integration." Amara looked up from her coffee. "That's huge, Nathan. Congratulations. It gets better. They specifically requested that you head up the project. They want to work exclusively with you because of the excellent relationship you've built with them." "Me? But that would be a promotion to Vice President of Customer Relations with a team of 12 people reporting to you and a salary that reflects your value to the company." Amara stared at her husband. "Vice President? You've earned it, Amara. Your customer retention rate is the highest in the industry, you've brought in more new business than anyone else in the company, and clients specifically ask to work with you. But I don't have an MBA or... You have something better. You have instinct, experience, and genuine care for people. That can't be taught." Caleb looked between his parents with interest. "Does this mean Mummy gets a bigger office?" "Much bigger," Nathan said with a smile. "Corner office, view of the city, the works." That afternoon, Amara found herself standing in what would be her new office, still hardly believing the turn her life had taken. 18 months ago she had been cleaning offices in buildings like this. Now she was a vice president in one of the most successful technology companies in the city. "Overwhelming?" Nathan asked, joining her at the floor-to-ceiling windows. "A little. I keep waiting for someone to realize they made a mistake." Nathan turned her to face him. "The only mistake would be not recognizing your talent sooner. You belong here, Amara. Not because you're my wife, but because you're brilliant at what you do." "I love you," she said simply. "I love you too. Now want to see the other surprise?" "There's more?" Nathan led her to the window that faced the children's daycare center across the street. "See that building? Cross Technologies just signed a partnership agreement with them. Employees get priority enrollment and discounted rates." "Nathan, you didn't?" "I did. After-school care, summer programs, everything Caleb might need. He can stay there until you're ready to leave work, and it's a 2-minute walk from your office." Amara felt tears gather. "You think of everything." "I think of our family first, always. Everything else is just business." That evening they celebrated with dinner at Caleb's favorite restaurant, the same family-friendly place Nathan had taken them to discuss Amara's first job offer over a year ago. Caleb ordered chicken nuggets and chocolate milk, just as he had that first day, but everything else had changed completely. "I want to make a toast," Caleb announced solemnly, raising his chocolate milk. "To Mummy's new job and Daddy's smart ideas and our family being the best family ever." They clinked glasses, and Amara marveled at how confident and articulate her 7-year-old son had become. The shy, sick child who had whispered, "It's okay, Mummy, we can leave," in that wedding venue was now a healthy, happy boy who spoke up boldly and believed in good things happening. "Speaking of family," Nathan said, his tone carefully casual, "how would you both feel about making our family a little bigger?" Amara nearly choked on her wine. "Bigger how?" "Well, there are a few options. We could adopt another child, or..." Nathan paused meaningfully. "Or..." Amara prompted. "Or we could have a baby. If that's something you'd want." Caleb's eyes went wide with excitement. Baby? Like a little brother or sister? Maybe, Nathan said. But only if Mummy wants to. Amara looked at her husband and son, both watching her hopefully. The idea of another child had crossed her mind recently, especially seeing how wonderful Nathan was with Caleb. But they had been so focused on building their relationship and establishing their careers that she hadn't brought it up. I would love that, she said quietly. I would love to have a baby with you. Nathan's smile was radiant. Really? Really? Caleb, how do you feel about being a big brother? I would be the best big brother ever, Caleb said with certainty. I would teach the baby about dinosaurs and magic tricks and how to ride a bike and everything important. Those are very important things to know, Nathan agreed seriously. 3 months later, Amara stood in their bathroom holding a pregnancy test with shaking hands. 2 pink lines. Positive. She was pregnant with Nathan's baby. Amara? Nathan called from the bedroom. Everything okay? She opened the bathroom door to find Nathan sitting on their bed, looking concerned. Without saying a word, she handed him the test. Nathan stared at it for a long moment, then looked up at her with tears in his eyes. We're having a baby? We're having a baby, Amara confirmed. Nathan stood and pulled her into his arms, spinning her around just as he had the day he proposed. When he set her down, they were both crying and laughing at the same time. Caleb is going to be so excited, Nathan said. Should we tell him now? Let's wait until we know everything is okay. But Amara, I'm so happy. A baby that's part of both of us, a little brother or sister for Caleb. Our family is going to be complete, Amara finished. The pregnancy progressed beautifully. Amara continued working in her new role, which she loved, while Nathan took over more of the household duties and worried constantly about her health. Caleb appointed himself her official protector, carrying her purse and reminding her to drink water and eat healthy snacks. The baby is going to love you so much, Amara told Caleb one evening as he helped her sort through baby clothes that Nathan's family had enthusiastically donated. I'm going to love the baby so much too, Caleb said seriously. Daddy Nathan says being a big brother is one of the most important jobs in the world. Daddy Nathan is right. On a warm spring morning, exactly 2 years after their wedding, Amara gave birth to a perfect baby girl. Charlotte Rose Cross arrived healthy and beautiful with Nathan's dark hair and Amara's brown eyes. She's so tiny, Caleb whispered in awe, holding his sister for the first time with Nathan's help. Hi Charlotte. I'm your big brother Caleb. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. Nathan sat beside them on the hospital bed, his arm around Amara as they watched their children together. Our family is perfect now, he said softly. It was perfect before, Amara replied. Now it's just bigger. Better and better, Nathan agreed. 6 months later, Amara walked through the Cross Technologies building toward her corner office, carrying Charlotte in a baby carrier and holding Caleb's hand. The on-site daycare had been a godsend, allowing her to maintain her career while keeping her children close. Mrs. Cross, her assistant Jennifer called as they passed the reception desk. The Patterson Group called. They want to schedule a meeting about expanding into pediatric care facilities. Schedule it for next week, Amara replied. And remind me to review their current satisfaction scores before the meeting. In her office, Amara settled Charlotte in the portable crib Nathan had insisted she keep there, then helped Caleb get started on his homework at the small table by the window. This was their routine now. School pickup, quick stop at Mommy's office, then home for dinner with Daddy. Mummy, when Charlotte gets bigger, will she come to your office too? Caleb asked, carefully writing spelling words. If she wants to. But by then you'll probably be too cool to hang out in Mommy's office after school. No way, Caleb said firmly. I'll always want to hang out with you. As the afternoon sun streamed through her windows, Amara looked around her beautiful office, at her healthy children, at the life she had built from nothing. In a few hours, Nathan would arrive to drive them all home to their house with the swing set where everything had started. They would have dinner together, help Caleb with his reading, give Charlotte her bath and fall asleep as a complete family. It had been exactly 3 years since that desperate night when she had crashed a wedding reception with medical bills in her purse and fear in her heart. 3 years since Caleb had whispered, "It's okay, Mummy, we can leave," and broken her heart with his gentle acceptance of disappointment. Now Caleb was a confident 8-year-old who never doubted that good things would happen. Charlotte was a happy baby surrounded by love from the moment she was born. Nathan was a devoted husband and father who had found his purpose in their family. And Amara was a successful professional, loving wife, and fulfilled mother who woke up every day grateful for the journey that had brought them all together. "Mummy," Caleb said looking up from his homework, I'm glad you went to that wedding that night. Why's that, sweetheart? Because that's how we found Daddy Nathan. And now we have the best family ever. Amara smiled, reaching over to ruffle his hair. We definitely do, baby. We definitely do. Outside her office window, the city bustled with people pursuing their own dreams and facing their own challenges. Somewhere out there, another single mother was probably struggling to make ends meet. Another child was waiting for someone to love them unconditionally. Another person was feeling alone despite being surrounded by success. Amara's story was proof that sometimes, when you thought you had lost everything, that was exactly when everything was about to change. Sometimes fairy tales really did come true, but only for those brave enough to keep hoping even in their darkest moments. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, a desperate, "It's okay, Mummy, we can leave," led to a lifetime of never having to leave again. Their family was complete, their love was strong, and their future was bright with endless possibilities. The struggling single mother who had crashed a wedding reception was now a vice president, beloved wife, and mother of two. The lonely billionaire who had rescued her was now a devoted family man who measured success not in dollars but in bedtime stories and laughter around the dinner table. Together, they had built something beautiful from the ashes of their separate struggles. Together, they would face whatever adventures life brought them next. And they would face them as a family forever and always.